No DQ Galaxy. We are live with a recap of Monday Night Raw for September the 19th, 2022. We have Extreme Rules coming up in around 3 weeks. More matches were added to the card. We will be discussing that. Shout out to everybody watching live. Early birds, you get a special shout out. CC Drink, Sam, Daniel, Jonathan, Don Boeing. Thank you guys for tuning in early. I very much appreciate it. Nolan Wright as well. We kicked off Raw with a United States Championship match. Bobby Lashley versus Seth freaking Rollins. Rollins could not get the best of Lashley early on, so he pie-faced him, and he slipped to the outside of the ring. Rollins ended up sending Lashley into the ring post. He tried to do a curb stomp when they got back in the ring, but Lashley used his power, would not go down for the curb stomp. Pretty cool counter to the curb stomp, by the way. Lashley then clotheslined Rollins to the outside of the ring, but Rollins regained the upper hand, and after the commercial break, Rollins was working over the bicep of Lashley. He hit a springboard knee, continued to work over Lashley. Both of them ended up on the outside of the ring. Lashley did his trademark, sending Rollins into the ring post. And then Lashley tried to put away Rollins, but was unsuccessful. Rollins countered a superplex attempt, hit a buckle bomb, and then hit a big splash off the top, but Lashley kicked out. And then Lashley power slammed Rollins, and Lashley went for a spear. Actually, I should say Lashley went for a spear, but it was countered into a pedigree. Pretty cool counter here. We saw some nice counters in this match. Rollins was not able to put away Lashley with the pedigree, and then Lashley avoided another curb stomp attempt, got on the hurt lock, but then the referee got knocked down in the melee, and then Rollins hit a low blow with the referee not able to see it. Then we had Matt Riddle run down to the ring, and he provided a distraction. Bobby Lashley hit the spear and got the 1-2-3 victory to retain his title. Very good match here with these guys. Ending was predictable with Riddle interfering. I think we all pretty much expected this to happen. But you continue to build up that storyline, and Lashley picks up another win. We had Damage Control arriving to the arena in a limousine. They had their championship celebration. They came down to the ring in a customized golf cart. This was in San Jose, Bayley's hometown. And she got some boos, but also some cheers as well. Bayley called herself the Bay Area hero, and Damage Control talked about how the women's division doesn't need Asuka, Alexa Bliss, or the Raw Women's Champion Bayley, or not Bayley, Bianca Belair. Maybe it'll be Bayley soon. And Damage Control said that those three, Asuka, Alexa, and Bianca, are in control of nothing. And that led to Bianca's crew showing up, said that they are going to teach them some respect. Bayley made a comment about how Alexa Bliss is a shell of her former self, and that's when Alexa issued a challenge to Bayley for a one-on-one match. A big fight broke out, and that set up the match, which ended up being the main event of the evening. We had Kevin Owens versus Austin Theory. Theory knocked Owens off the apron before the bell even rang to start the match. Owens, of course, was up for a fight. He told the referee to ring the bell anyways, and he went right after Theory, but Theory slipped to the outside of the ring, sent Kevin Owens into the announce desk. hit a neck breaker on the floor. And after the commercial break, Owens started to make a comeback. He had a big swanton off the top, but Theory kicked out of that. Crowd was chanting, "Who's your daddy?" And Owens said he is Theory's daddy. Theory tried to put Owens away, could not do it. So he went for the Money in the Bank briefcase. And that's when Johnny Gargano showed up, took the briefcase. Theory was distracted. And that's when Owens hit the pop-up powerbomb, got the 1-2-3 victory. And then Gargano got in the ring and dropped the briefcase right on Theory's crotch. So 2 matches, 2 distraction finishes. I guess distraction finishes, the new DQ on Monday Night Raw. Match was good, but I think they're starting to maybe rely on the DQ finishes a little too much. Or not the DQ finishes, the distraction finishes. Dr. Dakota Scorpio sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Says, Bayley was technically right. The Raw's women division certainly does need something. It's been meh, especially in the main event. I don't blame them. I think the women's division is fine. I just feel like you need some fresh blood in there. You got Damage Control, but I think you need to mix it up a little bit more, get some more people in there. It feels like you've had the same people feuding for the longest time. Maybe having a draft will help things a little bit and mix it up a bit more. But at the same time, I would rather see the draft take place after WrestleMania and not do it so soon. But I think maybe Bayley getting the title would freshen things up a little bit. I feel like Bianca has gone through pretty much everyone on Raw, and maybe it's time for a change in that regard. We had a promo backstage with Riddle talking about how he's going to keep hunting Rollins down until he gets his rematch. We had footage shown of the Roman Reigns and Logan Paul build-up, the podcast appearance, SmackDown, and then, of course, the press conference on Saturday. If you missed it, Roman Reigns versus Logan Paul is official for Crown Jewel on November 5th. I'm sure we'll talk more about that on the No DQ review. We had the Brawling Brutes showing up on Monday Night Raw. They have a unified tag team title match scheduled for SmackDown. And before they could really say much of anything, they were interrupted by the Street Profits. The Profits were not in that fatal 4-way tag match last week, so they wanted to make a claim to the tag team titles, and the Brutes issued a challenge right there on the spot to a tag team match. It was accepted, and then we had our tag team match, Street Profits versus Brawling Brutes. Back and forth here. Brawling Brutes were holding their own, doing the beats that Sheamus made famous, taking turns. They double-teamed Dawkins for a while. Could not put him away, though. And then Montez Ford got the hot tag. He hit the top rope blockbuster. Ridge Holland broke up the pin. And then Ford did a big dive to the outside on both Brutes. And then Ford was going to hit another blockbuster to Ridge Holland. But Butch came in and knocked Ford off the top rope. And then Butch and Ridge hit the kick and power slam combo and scored the pinfall victory over Dawkins. Match was solid. I mean, I like the idea of the Brawling Brutes picking up a win. I just wish that they were doing this on the pay-per-view and not on SmackDown, because when the Brawling Brutes inevitably lose, what do you do for the pay-per-view? Feel like they should be building this up for the pay-per-view, in my opinion. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention, there was a QR code shown when Austin Theory was backstage, and then there was a fan that was walking around ringside with a QR code, and if you looked it up, it takes you to a WWE web page, and there's this cryptic video for this Friday, September 23rd. People think maybe it's Karrion Kross, something with him. The White Rabbit was his nickname in Lucha Underground. Other people think it's Bray Wyatt finally coming back. Remember Rambling Rabbit? Maybe that's what the White Rabbit is a reference to. The song White Rabbit, an old Jefferson Airplane song, the vocals from it have been playing at WWE events, SmackDown, live events, Raw. And that's got a lot of people wondering what the hell that is. Walter Cruz sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you, Walter. Says, say yes to no DQ, share, like, hashtag stick to my shtick, or stick to his shtick, I guess. I'm still not convinced it's Bray Wyatt. It's one of those scenarios where I'll believe it when I see it. I know he's rumored to be coming back, but maybe we're getting some kind of swerve. We'll see. We had, oh, by the way, Michael Wayne wanted everybody to know SmackDown's going to be in Salt Lake City. If that has any relevance, I don't know. We had the Alpha Academy approaching Johnny Gargano backstage, saying that Gargano made the biggest mistake of his career by getting involved with Austin Theory, and said that the numbers are against Gargano. But then Kevin Owens showed up, backed up Gargano, and a tag team match was set up for next week's show. And Gargano also shooshed Chad Gable. We had Rey Mysterio backstage talking about how Edge is not out of the fight despite being injured last week at the hands of Judgment Day. Rey also said he's not giving up on his son Dominic. We then had a tag team match, Rey Mysterio and Matt Riddle versus the Judgment Day, Damian Priest and Finn Balor. Before the match, Judgment Day cut a promo talking about how with Dominic by their side, they cannot be stopped. Said Dominic's a man now, and Edge is just a beat up, sad, and injured man. Dominic tried to speak a little bit, but the crowd was just booing him like crazy. I mean, you have to keep in mind, San Jose, California, they're very much behind Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, that Hispanic crowd, and they were not feeling Dominic whatsoever. So they were booing him loudly, but he did say he could not be any more proud to stand with his real family. And the four of them took a little family portrait. Building Nexus with a $2 super chat says, should Rhea Ripley get the shot at Bianca Belair after Bayley? Well, I'm thinking Bayley should get the title at this point. Rhea Ripley, at first I was wanting to see her beat Bianca Belair, but now she's doing everything with Judgment Day, and I just feel like she's fine with what she's doing now, and I think Bayley really needs the title, and Bianca should be chasing for a while. So I would go with Bayley at this point. I was saying Rhea Ripley before Bayley came back. Now that Bayley's back, I think I would go with Bayley. And Walter Cruz sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Walter. Appreciate it. Says, if Wyatt really is returning, shock people, surprise everyone, don't tease, don't announce, just come out at the end of a Raw or SmackDown and set up an angle. You have a point there that it would be best for him to show up as a surprise. And the thing about what they're doing now, if it is Wyatt, it's cool and all, but people are somewhat expecting it. And if it's Karrion Kross, people are going to be disappointed, and they're like, well, the guy's already there. Why are you doing these teases for somebody who's already on TV? So it is a little odd, and we'll see what they do, but maybe it's not what we think it's going to be. Triple H apparently has a few surprises up his sleeve, and those surprises we're not exactly expecting. Who knows? There's definitely a lot of teases out there on social media, so time will tell. People are definitely intrigued by it, that's for sure. Anyways, we had our tag team match. Rey Mysterio teaming up with Riddle against Judgment Day. Bad guys worked over Rey for a while. Finn Balor was doing the Three Amigos, but when he went for the third one, Rey Mysterio countered it. Riddle got a tag in, built up some momentum, but then Damian Priest chokeslammed him on the apron, and Rhea Ripley suplexed Riddle on the outside of the ring when the referee was distracted. Eventually, Riddle was able to tag out. Rey got a hot tag, went for the 619, but he got pulled to the outside of the ring. Riddle came back in, helped out Rey. Rey was able to hit the 619 to Balor, but then Rhea Ripley got on the apron. Seth Rollins showed up. No surprise here after earlier trying to get his payback. He grabbed the steel chair, but Rey got the chair, chased Rollins away, and then Dominic dared Rey to hit him with the chair. Rey, of course, did not do this to his son. Got back in the ring. Finn Balor took advantage, hit the coup de grace, picked up the 1-2-3 victory. So you had more distraction stuff. Like I said, I think they're starting to overdo it with the distractions a little bit, but I do like the Rey and Dominic angle, and they keep that going. So that was good. Match was solid. Rollins and Riddle continued fighting backstage, and that's when Rollins accepted a match, said they could have the rematch finally. Riddle challenged him to a fight pit match, and Rollins agreed to that. So we will have Seth Rollins versus Matt Riddle in a fight pit match at Extreme Rules. Fight pit, if you were not watching NXT in 2020, it was like a steel cage match, kind of like an octagon style / steel cage match. They did two of them. Riddle was in one of them, and then there was a second one with Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher in 2021. NXT gimmick match coming to the main roster. And speaking of that, War Games coming to Survivor Series this year, which I was half expecting, considering Triple H is in charge now. Vince McMahon was never a fan of doing WCW gimmick matches on his shows, which is why we never saw War Games on the main roster. But now things are different. Triple H doing the War Games match. And for the first time in a while, I'm pretty stoked for Survivor Series. It feels like it will be a top 4 or top 5 pay-per-view. Like the last couple of years hasn't exactly felt like a major league show. And this should definitely change it. You know, Bloodline in a War Games match will be hot. And they'll probably do Damage Control teaming up with somebody against Bianca Belair's team. Next up, we had Miz TV with special guest, or supposed to be a special guest, Dexter Lumis. You had Miz talking about how he's been a victim of a deranged madman, said Dexter Lumis crossed the line and wanted to know why Dexter Lumis was doing that. Somebody sent in a super chat, but with that username, they will not be acknowledged. There are rare occasions where I will not acknowledge the super chatter, and that's if they put something racist or hate speech or something like that. I'm just going to take your money, and that's that. So thank you for the $1, I suppose. So anyways, Lumis did not show up. Miz was ranting and raving, and then all of a sudden a knife popped up from under the ring. Somebody was cutting with a knife. Miz kept talking, and then Dexter Lumis, of course, popped up from under the ring, and he tried to pull Miz under the ring. Ciampa, who, by the way, the announcers called him Tommaso Ciampa, so I guess he's officially Tommaso Ciampa again. And Ciampa tried to help out. He hit Lumis with a microphone. Lumis ducked back down, but then popped back up again, freaking out Miz and Ciampa in the process. So I'm enjoying the angle. I like it. They keep doing all this stuff with Dexter Lumis, getting the close-ups of his face. You know, good stuff here. And then we had Dominic backstage joking about how he should go check on his dad, but then he laughed it off. Then Finn Balor saw AJ Styles backstage and approached him. Balor said he would never turn his back on Styles. Styles said he wants no part of Judgment Day. Balor hugged Styles and said that the offer still stands to join Judgment Day. So we'll see where that goes with AJ Styles. I would not even be shocked if he joins, because it feels like AJ Styles is kind of just floundering right now. So maybe that's a possibility. Maybe AJ Styles goes to the dark side as well. We had our main event of the evening, Bayley versus Alexa Bliss. Match was fine, but pretty standard. Like, Bayley was working over Alexa Bliss for most of the match. You had Bianca Belair and Asuka there along with Damage Control, and Bayley hit the Bayley to belly, but Alexa kicked out, and then Bayley tried to put her feet on the ropes. Bianca pulled off the feet, and that's when a fight broke out on the outside, kind of predictable. And Alexa hit a DDT, climbed up to the top rope. She was going to finish off Bayley, but then you had Dakota Kai distracting the referee, and Io Sky pushed Alexa off the top rope. Bayley hit the roast plant, picked up the win. Brawl continued afterwards. Damage Control got the upper hand, and Bayley hit the roast plant to Belair, grabbed the microphone, and officially challenged Bianca Belair to Extreme Rules. So this was fine, predictable, but definitely the direction they've been going in and where they should be going. And I do think it's time for a title change. Building Nexus with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, do you think Gallows and Anderson are coming back? Would not shock me, considering that they're buddies with Triple H. They're buddies with AJ Styles, Finn Balor. I would not be surprised if they do come back. Maybe they join Judgment Day too, add a tag team to the mix. Why not? Hey, there you go. There's an idea. You could always do the Bloodline versus Judgment Day. I know Triple H said that they're not going to do Raw versus SmackDown per se, but still, that would be an interesting match, Judgment Day versus the Bloodline, if you build up Judgment Day a little bit more. So all in all, Raw was decent. Matches were good. I'm not a big fan of all of the distraction finishes. I think if you do like one per show, that's fine. But when you start doing like 3 or 4 of them in one show, it becomes excessive. And it was a little predictable. And predictability is not necessarily a negative thing. Sometimes it can be a positive. But in this case, it was kind of boring. So I give it a B-. Not really a Raw that I would highly recommend. I would somewhat recommend it, but not something you need to go out of your way to watch. Like right now, just trying to think about it, like there's no one segment where I'm like man, you really need to see that. Like, the matches were good, pretty solid, but not a must-see show by any means. And to be fair, like this week, they got a lot of competition. There were 2 football games this week on Monday night, so might be one of their lowest numbers of the year, maybe their lowest. So I don't blame them for not swinging for the fences going up against the football games. Anyways, guys, that's all I got for tonight. I hope you enjoyed the video. Friday should be a very interesting show if we get some kind of revelation about these White Rabbit teases. Friday night SmackDown, looking forward to that. AEW Dynamite, Arthur Ashe Stadium. Could be the biggest Dynamite of the year. I mean, last year's was arguably the biggest of 2021. Could be actually, I think it is their biggest gate of the year, even though they're not going to have as many people as last year. Last year was their first show in the New York market, but still, I think they got like 12,000, 13,000 tickets sold. Pretty solid. Looking forward to that. No DQ review. Going to be an interesting week, so stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest. Have a great week, everybody. Take care, and remember to say yes to NoDQ.com. Spread the word, and I will see you all next time.